Welcome. Ed Martin here in the Pro America Report. Great to be with you. What an incredible day. I got to tell you, I've been thinking all day about what to talk with you about. I've just been thinking about how fired up I am. And, yesterday we sort of did a little celebratory dance with General Flynn. Looks like the Court of Appeals is going to get him, out from under, direct the judge to move on. And it's good, right? It's all good. I was excited about that all day. And then I started reading more specifically. And what I want to talk to you about right now, and we're going to talk in a few moments with a reporter who deserves a lot of credit. She runs uncoverdc.com. Her name is Tracy Beans, and at Tracy Beans on Twitter. And she does great analysis and reporting on lots of stuff, but especially the Flynn matter. So we'll talk to her in a few minutes. But here's the thing. The story that's not being covered, and I just went again before I got on the air with you all, is not being covered on any of the big, nowhere. No big Main Street, fake newsers are covering the actual real story. Now, Fox News is covering it a little bit. Drudge is barely covering it because he's lost his mind. Breitbart is covering it. And it's this. The specifics now that are so clear of the Peter Strzok notes, the FBI agent Peter Strzok's notes from the meeting on January 4th, 2017 in the White House, and the following people are in the meeting: Peter Strzok, James Comey, FBI director, Sally Yates, deputy attorney general, Joe Biden, and Barack Obama. There might have been other people there, but the notes from Peter Strzok, the FBI agent, and the thing about this that you have to understand is, what people say in the law and in evidence and things is contemporaneous recordings of what you heard are the most reliable for obvious reasons, right? Obviously, if you sit down and you make a recording of, I just had a great time at my wedding, and here's some of the things that happened in great conversations. What you remember at the time, 2 hours after an event, is more likely to be accurate than what it is when you think about it 3 months later, obviously. But in terms of writing down notes, it's also sort of hard to make up lies when you're taking notes at the same time. So if you recall, Peter Strzok later had to revise his notes from his meeting with Flynn into a 302 memo. That's what it's called in the FBI. And the memo was redacted and changed and edited and made to sound what he wanted to. And in that, he was probably lying. We haven't found it yet. But these are just handwritten notes from a meeting. And so they have a certain reliability is how you think about it. And I got to think, someone could jump up and say, oh, no, he's lying about Biden. Seems unlikely that he would be lying about Biden. So here's how the exchange goes. Comey says, according to the notes in this meeting, that the Flynn call with the ambassador of Russia is legitimate. It's legitimate. It's not grounds for anything. And everyone's like, oh, too bad, it sounds like. So first of all, isn't that like the first smoking gun? Because think about it. The entire premise of the Russia hoax was that it started with Flynn and it was supposed to be this collusion, right? That was the center of this. And from this moment forward, January 4th, 2017, Comey, Yates, Biden, Obama, and then by extension, Clapper, Brennan, all those people know it's all a lie. And for years until now, they still lie about it. They go on TV, they get paid to do books, and they lie about it. And they spread the word. Senator Mark Warner, the Intelligence Committee chair of the Senate, he would have known it was a lie. Schiff would have known it was a lie from the House Committee. So from that moment on, this is like the smoking gun that Comey knew the Flynn thing wasn't legitimate. And they're literally from then on, they're just all playing along. Think about how breathtaking it is that they're willing to lie about it for so long. Now, the two answers to why is, one is they're totally deranged, Trump deranged, and they're blinded. Or the second is they're just evil actors. But it doesn't matter which is true. It just matters what they did. And they lied for years and tore the country apart, aided by the fake newsers that ran it all and divided us. This is a horrendous thing. And then, soon after that moment in this meeting, according to Strzok's notes, no one is disputing the notes. Strzok hasn't emerged from under his rock to say, oh no, those weren't my notes. Those were a dream I had 2 days later when I was, having an affair with my mistress, Lisa Page. No, he's not said anything. The next part of it is Biden suggests with 40 years in the Senate and 7 years in the vice president's office, a knowledge of the swamp, a knowledge that no one's ever been prosecuted successfully for the Logan Act violation. No one, this idea the Logan Act is supposed to stop people, it's from the 1800s, stop individual citizens from negotiating treaties and contracts with other nations, as if that's what Flynn was doing, and it's already been said it's legitimate. So Biden says, Logan Act? And everybody goes, oh, okay, Logan Act. The vice president's telling us that direction. Okay, got it. And then Obama says, let's put the right people on this. Now, at this point, please understand, and this is what I want you to know. I mean, it's so important that when you have accrued that much power, it's a kind of habit of power. If you meet someone who assumes an executive position, maybe as a CEO of a company or a governor, I knew a governor, I worked as chief of staff to a governor, or I suspect a president, the first period when they get all that power and that prestige and the sort of role, it takes a while. But after a certain amount of time, they get good at it. And if they're a jerk, they get to be a jerk. But if they're good people and they're balanced, they get really good at it. You get good at making decisions and being in charge. It's a lifestyle. It's a very, on one level, it's a very intoxicating thing. On another level, it's very mentally draining. You're making a lot of decisions, making assessments. But 7 years into being president, almost 8, president, Obama and Biden know exactly how to do this. And when they say Logan Act, use the right people, they're sending the signal to keep this thing going. They're sending the signal on how to go forward. And think about the insanity of these people, Comey, Yates, Strzok, who do not believe that they work for the constitutional office, but for the individuals. And they spend the rest of their time, years, trying to accomplish this coup. It's extraordinary details. And what you need to know is it's being ignored by the press. It's being ignored by the mainstream politicians. And remember this, at the heart of this whole Flynn thing now is the very simple fact that had Flynn been compelled to do a plea deal, all of this would have not just been under seal to be looked at in 40 years when a historian went at, it would have disappeared. Because you never have there's no record that accrues when you plead guilty. If someone says, you did this, did you do it? Yes, I plead guilty. That's the end of it. There's no debate on whether they entrapped you or anything. You've already said you did it. And so all of this involvement, all of these documents, all of this stuff would have disappeared, which is the reason why Flynn, Mueller and Weissman and all the people in charge of the Mueller investigation always wanted plea deals. They wanted to squeeze everybody, whether Corsi, Stone, everybody. They want to squeeze you into plea deals because they know it ends any scrutiny of how this thing got to where it was. But what you need to know now is this thing is not going to reach back to Obama. It's there. It's not going to reach back to Biden. It's there. And Biden, I mean, again, I told you, I started a webinar yesterday for my work, the Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, and the webinar is a weekly webinar, 7 weeks. It's called The Problem of Chinese Communism, Problem of Communist China, the Second Cold War. And I talked yesterday in the webinar just about the communists. And one of the characteristics, a starting characteristic, is they're immoral. They don't believe in morality. They don't believe in honoring their word. They don't believe in truth and justice. They're immoral. It's pure power. They don't care about people. It's power and means to the end. This is the way this works. When you see Joe Biden, who in the last 6 weeks has gone on at least 2 television shows I can think of, but one I can picture. He's gone with George Stephanopoulos, and Stephanopoulos says, well, Flynn, were you involved in that? Oh, I know nothing about it. Know nothing about it. People played it back today. He's lying. He's not only lying, I mean, he's not just lying about knowing about the Flynn thing. He was involved in it. He was directing it. He was influential in key decisions. And he's just lying to us. And it's like the little boy that cried wolf, or one of those other lessons. Once you realize that somebody will lie about the use of power and the abuse of power, you don't have to go far, dreaming far, to see what they'll be like if they get to be in office and power again. They'll be worse. Unbelievable. What you need to know is what came out. Flynn's deal yesterday was a big deal. But what came out in those Strzok notes, it should be absolutely shattering. We'll see if it is, but it should be to the future, to any legacy of Obama, any future for Biden. Unbelievable. Incredible. Take a look at it. All right. We're going to, at the end of the show today, later on in the show, we're going to talk about Parler, Raheem Kassam, Carpe Donktum, a few other things on social media, the Facebook release by Project Veritas, another expose, unbelievable. So stick around for that. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. It's Ed Martin here on the Pro America Report. Come on back.